placed.
It's a good point.
Yeah. So we'll move on to good old scum in DC United. And because we all know what their biggest transfer in was, I'll start with the transfer out, and that's Lucha Acosta. Didn't get a lot of time over last year because he fell out of favor with Olsen. But he was easily one of the best attacking options in MLS over the past few years. That's no question. Some of the stuff he did was just downright disrespectful to players. He was really really good, and you take a guy who had a multi-million-dollar transfer fee paid by PSG a few years back. I don't know how that fell through, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. And you go ahead and lose him to, I think he went to Mexico. Um, that's tough. And obviously, the biggest transfer in, we talked about it already, was Gressel. How they pulled this off was beyond me. I have no idea how Atlanta let him go. Um, but him and Edison Flores in the midfield now make DC maybe a top three contender in the East. But we are hoping that the probable happens and Ben Olsen screws this up too. So not worried about that.
Definitely. Um, I knew you were going to say Acosta, so that's why I chose Wayne Rooney. I mean, it's Wayne Rooney. Like,
Yeah,
you can't not put him as the biggest loss.
I guess.
I just think back, obviously, all the goals and, yes, a few red cards here and there, but I just remember that last-ditch slide tackle and assist against Orlando. I mean, I don't know how old, has done everything there is to do in the game, and he's thrown himself, given 100% in a game that's DC Orlando. I mean,
Fair.
you know, and
That was,
then,
that was one of his first games off the plane, right? Wasn't
It
it?
was
He
a,
was
it was
there
a
right,
second a second game, I believe.
yeah, exactly. So he's in. He's got a little bit of energy. He makes that tackle. He's done for 3 years. Good for him.
no, he's player manager now at Daru County. He's
No, I know,
his
I
own
know.
boss. He's his own boss now.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine? I heard he was already in arguments with some of the players because they didn't pay him.
That doesn't surprise me. Not Frank Lampard.
Yeah. The only person not the only thing some people remember that tackle. I remember his elbow to Caceres. That's all I remember.
Yes.
But
I was at that game.
Yeah.
were you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then, but going off Adam with the Rooney tackle, like with living in the DC area, like, and they just built a stadium when Rooney came. And I mean, they were in last place. Without Rooney, to me, honestly, their stadium would have failed. And like, if you go to Audi Field now, you only see Rooney shirts and jerseys. So I'm kind of scared to go to a game this year and hopefully see a transition in jerseys and people. And like, I was at Audi Field last week for the XFL game, and like, he's still on a billboard outside the stadium.
Of course
Wow.
he is.
So
Wow,
like,
that's awesome.
so like, it's cool, but at the same point, it's like, will people still buy in? Yes, Flores and Gressel are all great signings, but they're not the name that possibly may be needed for fans to keep showing up to DC United games.
Right. And I brought this up to, I believe it was Connor when he was first trying to understand like how to rebuild a team like this. And they almost went exactly as to the way I said it was you start by signing a big name player. And that was obviously Rooney, whether he can play or not. And he ended up coming in and being really good. For however long he was here, he was good. He gave what he could up until maybe his last year. People can argue maybe he stopped caring a little bit. Um, but you start by that, and then if you can keep him for long enough, or keep the big names coming for long enough, then you bring fans in based off of the desire to watch you play. Because when they watch those big names play, they get attached to the team at that point. And then when those big names leave, then you can keep coming in with the Floreses and the Gressels and the not big names. Um, but they're there for the team and they're excited for these players just to come in and keep the team going. Now the question is, did they keep Rooney long enough for that to happen? And I'm not sure if they did.
Yeah, that's the concern because I mean, Audi Field's a beautiful stadium. It holds 20,000 people, and I mean, it's in a good spot in DC. It's across the street from Nats Park.
Right.
But it's like the average soccer fan, I feel like they knew the name Wayne Rooney, especially like being in Virginia. Like DC United's always been here for the last 25 years, but it's like people knew Wayne Rooney. they would go to see Wayne Rooney. I don't know if they're necessarily just going to buy a random ticket on like a Saturday when they have nothing to do to see other people that they may not know, unfortunately, at this point.
Right, right, and that's why they were linked to Ozil forever. It was for that same reason,
Yeah.
to try and keep people coming. And
And with the Nats winning the World Series last year, it's like if people have the choice and the stadiums are next to each other, the Nats are the big draw right now.
right,
And even
right,
the Capitals are the first in NHL. People are going to choose to go to a Capitals game until May or June over going to these first couple months.
right. Yeah, no, that's definitely an issue with the way that this is set out. And listen, I hate DC as much as the next guy, and I don't care if they fail or not. But as a general soccer enthusiast, yeah, that's not a good thing to see.
No, not at all.